Just before I really start, welcome students. In this session today we are going to hear from a very skillful, learned and experienced person, Ms. Soumya, and she is Vice President Marketing and Mayor, and she will majorly focus on preparing GTM for Mayor and its brand products and brand position is NPDs and CMI, which involve research, survey, etc. And today the discussion is of course design thinking, critical thinking and innovation. So madam, welcome in this session, and now the 1 hour is for you, and I'm sure that I'm going to learn a lot. With this I welcome you in this session. Madam, please.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Um, while we have this concept introduced to you, I as far as I know, you guys are from engineering backgrounds or pursuing engineering. It's a very different and a me myself being an engineer, I took a lot of time adjusting to this process. But let me tell you, it is extremely interesting. It is need of the hour. It is topic that is being discussed by every senior management across the globe in every country right now. Design thinking is being taken over as a part of corporate strategies these days, and best of the brains are adopting this way of new product development, of understanding consumers, of understanding consumer needs, and developing something which makes sense, which is useful. And at the same time, the entire project and process with these sort of implementations probably just take you much more closer to success. So if you're developing something and you feel that your success rate is 50-50, with certain processes, which are aspects of design thinking, you can reach as close as 90-95% of success. And that's where things have really changed. There are a few companies which started it some years back, Pepsi being one of them, General Motors being one of them, and now in today's world every global MNC has adopted this. And this is like, for consultants, this is like the talk of the town. And for entrepreneurs, it just gives you a whole new aspect of tackling problems, of innovating something which you can see right in front of your eyes. Is just, you're not able to comprehend it. This process just makes things very simple, very easy, and brings you much closer to innovation, and probably helps you validate a lot of things. So with this, I'll probably move on to next slides of presentation. I feel that we can have some questionnaire at the end of the session. I'll try my best to time myself and finish everything in 1 hour, and keep some room for question answers. So let's begin. So I start with what is design thinking. Design thinking is an iterative process in which we seek to understand the user, challenge assumptions, and redefine problems in an attempt to identify alternative strategies and solutions that might not be instantly apparent with our initial level of understanding. So, as a kid, I'm sure a lot of people remember certain things and asking questions कि अरे ये ऐसे क्यों बना हुआ है, ये इतना डिफिकल्ट क्यों है इसे ऑपरेट करना, ये इतना इसको इतना सिंपल वे में क्यों नहीं डिजाइन कर रखा, या इसमें ये ढक्कन ऐसा क्यों लगाया है बॉटल्स का, ये तो इजी भी हो सकता था, ये ये ऐसा क्यों है वैसा क्यों नहीं. ये डिजाइन थिंकिंग प्रोसेस उन्हीं थॉट प्रोसेसेस से बन के निकला है, wherein we try to understand and challenge assumptions. That is the first goal of this process. And at the same time, design thinking provides a solution based approach to solving problems. It is a way of thinking and working as well as collect hands-on method. So for engineers, we are tuned to work in a manner, tuned to solve problems in a technical manner, but at times we just forget that solution can be very simple, and it can be non-technical, and it is in front of our eyes. By implementing such methods, we really get closer to such ideas. So there's this person called Don Norman. He has said some interesting things, and since I was giving this presentation to engineers, I thought that it makes more sense to include it here. It says, the more I ponder the nature of design and reflected on my recent encounters with engineers, business people, and others who blindly solved problems they thought they were facing without questioning or further study, I realized that these people could benefit from good dose of design thinking. Most important of all is that a process is iterative and expensive. Designers resist the temptation to jump immediately to a solution to the stated problem. Instead, they first spend time determining what the basic fundamental root issues is that needs to be addressed. They don't try to search for a solution until they have determined the real problem. And even then, instead of solving that problem, they stop to consider a wide range of potential solutions. Only then will they finally converge upon their proposal. This process is called design thinking. So, design thinking is a very long process, a tedious process. एक प्रॉब्लम को जैसे हमें आदत होती है क्वेश्चन पेपर में 1 घंटे में सॉल्व करना है, ये वो प्रोसेस नहीं है. और आई गेस पूरी दुनिया ऐसे सोल्यूशन से मूव अवे कर रही है जो किसी एक बंदे की गट फीलिंग से या किसी मैनेजर के डिसीजन से पूरी कंपनी को रन करते हैं. People are now moving to more expensive ideas, and they are expanding their horizon of thinking. So, design thinking starts with 3 phases. First is understand, second is explore, and third is materialize. In the understand phase, one has to empathize and define. Empathize by conducting research to develop an understanding of your users. जो problem है वो किन users की है, उन users को ये problem क्यों हो रही है. And then define, combine all your research and observe where your user's problem exists. And then define a problem in a definition format. Not कि किसी ने आपके आके कुछ बोला और आपको लगता है यही problem है. Problem most of the time वो नहीं होती. Problem उसका root cause होता है. वहां तक पहुंचने के प्रोसेस को अंडरस्टैंड कहते हैं. एंड देन यू एक्सप्लोर. इन एक्सप्लोर यू हैव 2 phases. One is ideate and second is prototype. Ideate is where you think of any crazy creative idea to this solution. Anything that comes to your mind, even if it sounds stupid in your mind, you should just write it down. And then once the team shortlists certain ideas, you build a prototype out of it. इसको बोलते हैं मिनिमम वायबल प्रोडक्ट. पूरा स्टार्टअप इंडस्ट्री इंडिया का या ग्लोबली इस फेज से गुजरता है जिसमें वो एक ऐसा प्रोडक्ट बनाते हैं जो कि थोड़ा घटिया होता है, जो कि इंडस्ट्री स्टैंडर्ड नहीं होता, जो कि ब्रांड नहीं होता, बट एक छोटी सी प्रॉब्लम का सोल्यूशन होता है. जैसे पेटीएम ने जब पेमेंट ट्रांसफर बनाया था, they just made a easy way of transferring. It was not the best solution, the most secure solution, जिसमें fraud नहीं था, easy नहीं था, but it was just a solution, just to test the market कि क्या लोग digitally payment transfer करेंगे एक दूसरे के phone number पे. And that's what MVP is, that's what prototype is. You develop that small prototype and then you materialize it. You go back to your users, you take that product feedback, and once you are sure that your prototype is good, you put it into a final vision and you implement that final solution to your problem. And that is what design thinking is. Now, there are a lot of tools to do it, and we'll be discussing those tools slightly in depth. And there's a lot of information available on it on the online platform. Please feel free to go ahead and explore it. So, as I said, empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. Post you test our successful results, you implement your solutions. So you see there are a lot of arrows in this slide. These arrows basically tells you when to go back. So you first empathize, you define, you move to the ideation phase, you move to the prototype phase, and if that prototype is not satisfactory, and if you feel that there is more to it, you go back to ideation again. Then you probably move again to the prototype phase and then go back to ideation again. Then finally, when you're happy with the prototype, you move to test. In that test, You go back to users, you go back to ideate again, or you go back to practically redefining your problem again. But these are the iteration steps that people take in design thinking, and that's how they define their route of thought process. So again, understand, explore, materialize. You see, at every step you can go back. At every step you can skip multiple levels and go back. Even at the implementation stage, you go back to empathize with users and see, if there's something that could be done. So it is a process of lot of iterations, and let's be optimistic. The more you iterate, the more closer to a successful solution you reach. So now, how to empathize? You observe your user, you engage with your user, and you immerse yourself in your user's shoe, and then find the best way to understand the user's need. Immerse is considered the best way to understand your users when you put yourself through that challenging situation and see, what is the right solution for you, is where you come up with a lot of ideas. So in Engage, you can develop some interview questions, you can record your videos, you can re-watch those videos and come back to a solution or the next step. And in the observe phase, you just meet the user. You don't interact with the user. You just meet them and understand, like at an airport, if you have to give a solution to a airport process, you just look at what users are doing, where they're getting confused, if they're able to find the trolleys or not, if they're able to find the concierge or not, if they're able to go to the check-in by itself or not. And then you come back with a solution that, these signages, they should look like this, they should be in this color, so that people can identify. At every few meters we should put this, at every few meters you should do that. And that's where you come to the entire empathizing with your user, where you do these three steps and you come to a state where you can actually understand the root cause of the challenge that has been given to you, and you redefine that problem after your empathize step. There are a lot of tools for empathizing. I cannot go into every tool, but if I just read them out, you can later probably make notes and then probably go through these yourself. First is assume a beginner's mindset. Don't make pre-assumptions. Don't say कि ये तो बहुत genuine है. लोगों को ऐसे नहीं पता एयरपोर्ट पर राइट जाना होता है, लेफ्ट नहीं जाना होता है. Don't make those assumptions. Ask what, how, and why. Ask the 5 whys. The 5 times you have questions: why are you doing it? Why are you not doing this? Why are you accepting it? Ask those questions. Make an empathy map. Conduct interviews. Build analogies. Use photo and video based studies. Use personal journals. Engage with extreme users. कुछ users ऐसे होते हैं जो बिल्कुल ही जिनको they are on the extreme side of uh, you know of the problem. They will always have a problem. It also tells you to meet those extreme users, then capture and then create journey maps. So as I said, beginner's mindset. Don't make any assumptions, stereotypes. Allow yourselves to be free. Don't judge, question everything. Be very curious. Try and find patterns, and listen without thinking how you're going to respond. Don't think before you respond. If somebody asks you a question, just respond. Just free yourself. Then ask what, how, why. Very basically, write what you observe the user is doing without making assumptions. Understand what the user is doing and why they're doing it. So these tools, basically, if you start writing things down, will really basically help you analyze the problem better. Ask 5 whys. It's basically ask 5 times questions which start with why. If you do that, if you have 5 why questions, you really are able to break that problem into smaller problems. This is the empathy map. It is very useful. You put your users into these empathy maps. What users are saying goes at one place. What users are thinking when they use a product goes in one segment. What users are feeling goes in one segment. And actions a user taking when you're doing this experiment goes into another quadrant. So it looks sort of like this. You put all your, post-it notes in these four sections, and it gives you a great visibility. So this is how your empathy map will look like. What is the user thinking? What is the user saying? Sometimes, what you say is not what you're thinking. Sometimes what you say is not what you're doing. Sometimes what you feel is not what you say. And that is why it is important for you to map it down. If the user feels fear, anxious, excited, overwhelmed, you should know what is the feeling after using a solution. You should know what the user is saying, but what is actually they're thinking on and what they actually do with it. So if you map your problem like this, it basically helps you in your empathy stage. Another part is you conduct a lot of interviews. I'll show you a questionnaire that we have done in the past, and how it helps. If you can see the screen, these are the sort of questionnaires that we get users to fill up, which basically helps us understand what they want and what they really have to say about. So, why do you use this for? What do you use this for? How do you use this? Do you prefer this? When do you use it? Do you have any preferences? Starting questions with a lot of whys, you see a lot of whys basically help you build your journey better. Then moving on to analogies. It is again a great way to express your ideas, use examples to break down complex matters and understand and make it basically very easy for people to understand what you're asking. You can do so by pinning photos, by having your past experiences, maybe use something that you've understood with past users, and just basically use analogies to understand the user. Use photo and video based studies. Again, very useful. We have done that in past. It works really well. It is important when you meet these users, you record those videos because you tend to miss on a lot of things that they have said. And when you revisit those videos, you basically have a lot of data with you. And at the same time, you can assess their expressions and what they thought, how much time they took to respond to something. And there you can basically build more question and analyze better. Then you engage with extreme users. As I said, some users will never be happy. But then the design thinking process also encourages you to engage with those users, because those users will generally give you very, very simple problem which most of the users have made peace with the fact that India में population इतनी ज़्यादा है, they've made peace with it कि भाई नहीं मिलेगा इतनी आसानी से ये सामान, या ये short रहेगा. But there are certain users who are not. So, and those are the users will really give you a very different perspective. So we also encourage you to meet those extreme users. And then you body strong. It's a unique method that spans empathy, work, ideation, and prototyping. ये तीनों phases में चलता है. A technique for physically experiencing a situation. Let's say आपको आपको मे बी एयरपोर्ट के लिए अगर कोई सोल्यूशन देना है तो खुद से फ्लाइट लो, खुद से जाओ, खुद से पूरा प्रोसेस करो. ये नहीं कि बस यूजर्स का सुना और उससे एक सोल्यूशन बना दिया. जो सुना उसे खुद से एक्सपीरियंस करो, और एक नहीं पूरी टीम एक्सपीरियंस करे, एंड देन दे कम बैक and give you more ideas to challenge it. This is extremely important. Body storm is one extreme important part of design thinking, wherein if you're developing something, you use it yourself. If you're solving a problem, face that problem yourself, and then create journey maps. I'll show you what journey maps look like. Basically, it's a visual representation of what all you've gathered. It sets clear objective of the map. You need to take customer journey yourself. You do all these things and you reach to a point wherein this is your journey map. You have physical evidence, you have customer actions, you have uh, you know support process, and this is how you go back and keep coming back, how you follow that part. And and that when you have this map, it really tells you how big the problem is and where your bottlenecks are. And at times you might feel that there is just one bottleneck. It doesn't happen. Usually there are many more. And in the later stage, when you discover more problems, is where it hampers the whole progressive approach to a solution. That is why people do these maps to identify all the bottlenecks in one go. Again, an example of customer journey map. You have your phase one, phase two, phase three reactions, and you note down opportunities. You note down flow diagrams, and this will just help you build your problem definition better. Now comes the define stage. The define stage is where you observe your user from the empathize stage. Definition for a meaningful and actionable problem statement which the design thinker will focus on solving. That's where now things will really change. जो आपको प्रॉब्लम मिली थी और जो प्रॉब्लम आप लिखोगे उन दोनों में बहुत फर्क होगा इस टाइम पे. And this is basically the problem which can be actioned upon. You will know that these are the four things that you need to solve this bigger problem. And in this stage, you basically unpack your empathy findings into insights and meaningful challenges, define your point of view, actionable problems, meaningful problems. There are a lot of ways to do it. We'll discuss them in the next slides. So there are defined tools. One is point of view, how might we, how and why and how ladder, powers of 10. So first discuss point of view. It is very important. You articulate a point of view by combining these three elements: user needs and insight, which you have developed in the empathy stage. And insert your information about your user, the need, and your insights into the following sentence. User need this because of this. Once you do that, you'll have a point of view. And now, how might we? Short questions and launch brainstorm seeds for ideation. Come out with point of view statements. So everybody if comes out with a point of view statement, you can now question how might we solve this problem? How might we give a solution to this problem? So, how might we use the kids' energy to entertain fellow passengers? Remove the bad. How might we separate the kids from fellow passengers? How might we make the wait for most exciting part of the trip, like the waiting part, to be more exciting if you take the plane example? How might we entirely remove the wait time at the airport? How might we make the rush refreshing instead of hurrying? So all these things, you can ask such questions and then probably uh, define your problem better. Then comes the why and how ladder. Use the use to find user needs and way to possibly solve them. Ladder up front from that need, asking why, and then climbing back down the ladder, asking how. This will give you ideas for how to address the needs. Next comes the ideate. This is the most interesting part of the design thinking process, where you are absolutely free to give crazy, radical ideas on the board, and it just bring out amazing solutions at the end of it. So how you ideate? You transition from identifying problems to exploring solutions. Now you have identified a problem. Now this phase is where you explore all possible solutions and then basically screen the given solutions and come to a conclusion. There are a lot of tools to ideate. One is brainstorm, obviously very simple, right? Storyboarding, mind maps, which we have seen in the past slides. Brain walk, body storm. We have also understood what body storm is. Experiencing the challenge yourself. Prototype, cheat storm. There are a lot of things that you could do. It is the most interesting part of the design thinking process. I'll take you through some of them. What is brainwrite? The participants write down their ideas on paper. They pass on their own piece of paper to another participant. The other participant elaborates on first person's idea and so forth. So आपका idea कोई और elaborate करेगा, and that is when you get to know कि जो आप लिख रहे थे, जो आप idea दे रहे थे, उसको किस तरीके से perceive किया जा रहा है. Uh, Another few minutes later, the individual participants will again pass their papers on to someone else, and so on. The process continues. It should take about 15 minutes, and after that, people discuss ideas. Challenge assumptions. Again, identify the assumptions you have about the product you're building. Challenge these assumptions. It's very important to challenge what is your solution and see whether you are able to answer those challenges or not. Mind maps. Process through which the participant build a web of relationships. Participant write a problem statement, they write solution and link solutions statements between them. Again, it is similar to the empathy map that we have created. It involves a lot of writing and connecting things. This is basically a mind map looks like. How to focus in the age of distraction. I guess, something very useful for everybody who's attending this session. How to work, manage your space, take a digital technology detox, help for edits, take time to reflect and review, managing emails, critical rituals, habit, morning habits. It's so much when you start building a mind map you could do. Then, power of 10, consider challenges through frames of various magnitude, consider increasing and decreasing magnitudes of context to reveal connections and insight. Power of 10 for insight development. Imagine what happens, for example, when shopping for bubblegum versus shopping for a TV versus shopping for a house. How does this change the user behavior? Again, add constraints that alter the magnitude of solution space. Cost of $1 million versus 1 cent. एक सेंट खर्चने में किसी को बहुत ज़्यादा decision making नहीं करनी होती, but when it comes to spending $1 million, the whole process changes. Prototyping, it's again, as we discussed, minimum viable product. It's a very interesting term for people who are thinking of doing something of their own. You build a prototype, you go back to your users and you interact with them and see whether, your prototype drives a deeper empathy and shapes a successful solution or not for the set of users that you've interacted before building this. Basically, the way to prototype is either to storyboard, sketch, or just some features and go back to the customer अगर कि हम इसमें ये change कर देते हो अगर कि हम उसमें वो change कर दें तो आपका क्या reaction होगा, and you build your idea from there. There are a lot of pros and cons of prototyping. Prototyping is done because it is quick and inexpensive, possible to make instant changes and test new iterations, disposable, throwaway, नहीं समझ आ रहा change कर दो. It doesn't cost too much. It really encourages and foster design thinking. Cons are basically बहुत realistic नहीं है, आप उसको real world में apply करके नहीं दिखा सकते, बहुत सारे लोगों तक वो solution नहीं पहुंचा सकते. But at the end of it, it still remains a very integral part of business these days. So, moving forward to test, um, chance to gather feedback, redefine solution, and continue to learn about your users. The test mode is an iterative mode in which you place low resolution prototypes in the appropriate context for your user's life. Prototype as if you know what you're right, but test as if you know you're wrong. That's very important line, and people who are interested in this should make a note of it. Prototype जो आपने बनाया है वो आपको सही लगता है, बट जब आप उसको टेस्ट करने जाते हो ना तो आपको यही मान के जाना चाहिए कि दैट यूजर्स विल प्रूव यू रॉन्ग. बट if that doesn't happen is when you have really succeeded. Then testing with users allow you to learn about the solution you created, but also about the users, the empathy that you have built. Let your users experience the prototype. Have them talk through their experience, observe what they have, and follow up with questions, which becomes extremely important. So, with this, I guess we are almost on the end of the slide, and then probably I'll be taking you through some live examples what we have done. And post that, I guess we will have about 10 minutes for question answers. All right. So meanwhile, all those people who have questions can raise your hand, and I can probably start answering those questions once I take you through some live examples. So this is one research that we have done, which is much closer to design thinking, is wherein we the research was on Indian cooking habits, and it was done in 2018, and the objective of this research was to basically summarize what we found in homes in our visit to Delhi homes. It is of new product development and sourcing team to understand more about Indian customer needs. This was done when before we decided to enter the India market. And I cannot take you through all of it, but if you have a glance of it, trying to understand cooking habit, capture interesting insights, what we did was user interviews. We understand what cookware they have, kitchen inventory, and cooking observations. So you see, we visited so many families who cooked for us for almost one day, 3 meals. We saw them making 3 meals, and we observed, we asked questions. They take you to some questionnaires as well. So these are some of the profiles, age groups that we targeted: 35 to 45, 55 to 65, homemakers, working professionals. Um, then we had people who are who are retired, people who are into fashion, people who are into multinational companies, people who are professors. We met a lot of freelance people, and we basically created this map out of that research, that we ask those questions and we try and understand what is the outcome of those questions. So we did some interviews, we tried and analyze, you know what do they associate cooking with. A lot of people said that it is an expression of care, that I care for my family. A lot of people said I do it for my family and kids. A lot of people said that is a therapeutic. A lot of people said that that's where you can experiment. A lot of people said that it's hospitality what matters to them, inviting guests and cooking for them. Some people said health, some people said it's my passion, some people said it is creativity. So in here only you see cooking is something that people say, okay, khana hi to banana hai. But when you actually talk about this, you can see how the user thinks about it, and that really changed the perspective of a cookware company. And they try to understand and build stories around these expressions. We asked what good quality food means to you. It means tasty, nutritious, homemade, looks good, made from scratch. Then we had some comfort food questions, so we understood, what is being regularly made in Indian households. We did, these are all photographs from Indian homes, common breakfast, common lunch, common dinners. And then we did further interviews, understand how to get the inspirations from. A lot of people said on YouTube, on Google. A lot of people said Nisha Madhulika. A lot of people said food shoot, Khana Khana, kitchen, and all these YouTube channels basically are encouraging them. How they buy cookware, do they buy online, what they buy, what they don't buy, why they buy it, what is stored in their kitchen, the entire kitchen inventory overview. We took photos of how they store it, what they store. Uh, then we went ahead what sort of cooktops they use, how they wash their products, how they dry their products, what cleaning tools they use. What does the kitchen look like when they're cooking. And we tried understanding common shapes, we tried understanding preferences, we tried understanding dishes, we tried understanding pros and cons, if they understand pros and cons of certain products or not. We try and understand what knowledge of substrate they have, aluminum hai, iron hai, steel hai, coated hai, non coated hai. Tried understanding what their ideas were, why they're using a particular product, why this particular shape, um, why चाय मेकिंग प्रेफरेंसेस, कैसे चाय बनती है, हर घर में एक अलग तरीके से बनती है, तवा प्रेफरेंसेस. We did patila tops बोलते हैं उसको इंग्लिश में, टरका पैन, हांडी shapes, idli makers, gadgets. And all these things gave us a lot of insight as to what people are using and how we can improve what they are using in their daily homes, and what products we should bring in first, which will have an impact in the Indian homes. And this was the first part of our document.
I
So
can
this
see
is
this.
this is a 19-pager question answers that we did with every home, when we spent about 6 to 8 hours, and tried understanding every product and recorded their answers in a Google form, and then came back with amazing insights. And now I'll probably take you to the insights that we came up with. So we build these products for especially the Indian market. So this is where we are with those ideations. We build storage specific sets which are easy to store in Indian kitchens. which are stackable, which don't scratch. We understood that we cannot just bring cookware, we need to bring in accessories also. We bought idli makers, steamers, we bought a lot of new products, and the most hero product that we got, which nobody got, was this range, which nobody had in India and which we developed while we met the homemakers, is what they're looking for. The shapes that they're looking for, the handle ergonomic ways they're looking for, the way they would want to have a cookware in the Indian kitchen. And right now, in 4 years of business, Meyer India is an MNC. We stand at a revenue of 50 crores plus, and the journey for Meyer India basically started with design thinking. And I was part of this entire project. And not only this, after this, we did many projects, and we got some great insights about the products. And if you look at the competition in 4 years, uh, we have really made a mark in premium cookware segment category. If you read the reviews, people really say that Maya brings thoughtful products. We have won a lot of design awards and been appreciated by best of the chefs across India and across the globe for the products that's been developed. And it all started with the basics of design thinking. And I guess this is where I will stop. And we have about 10 minutes to take questions. And I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you so much, Soumya. It was indeed a very beautiful journey which was narrated here. Myers India. Okay. So, students, before we really go with questions and answers, Soumya, let me invite our director. So, he has just joined in.
All right.
Dr. Ajay Kumar, the director of the institute, has just joined, madam.
Uh, First of all, I would like to congratulate your cell, Institute Innovation Council, doing very good work, rather big spade work. It's a very Herculean task to make the levels for the entrepreneurs high, because it's such a thing that not to be disarranged in time, lose their hopes very soon. This is the point. So all our papers which we teach the students, the MBA, around 32 different papers we are teaching. And all these papers of MBA or BBA, they talk about 4 different types of skills. When we talk about these, that is one, the technical skills they talk about the human skills, they talk about administrative skills. But above all, if they have to rise in any area, if they want to rise above from the general manager to a CEO category, then the one of the critical skills they require is a design skills. So one of the foremost things when the conceptualization of design skill is the coming having that kind of design skills. Design skills does not come that you all of a sudden you are seeing the problem. It has not been a textbook affair. Design skills, sometimes we feel that we are in deep problems, nothing is at sight, and that time something will come out and that will help us to design the things and come out of the problem. जिसको बोलते हैं इंडिया के अंदर कई जगह जुगाड़, मतलब हमने इलेक्शन लड़ लिया, हमारे पास आ गई 13 पार्टी की कोalition गवर्नमेंट चलाना, ये भी डिजाइन स्किल्स होती है. तो इंडिया बीइंग अ डेमोक्रेटिक कंट्री, they know people, there are prime ministers who've been able with 13 different and running the government successfully for a point. This is also a design skill. So managing the affairs against all odds is again a design skill. Every often it's a nice example, but I feel it when we talk of technology, there cannot be 99.99%. There you have to be 100%. Two things, students, you have to carry on. Never compromise on technology. When you are with technology, it has to be 100%. And when we are going for a design skills means the human comes into picture. Here you have to make a balance between what is required, what is not required. When we talk of the technological factor, if you say I'm satisfied with 75%, it other way you are satisfied with 25% failure.
Correct.
that way. If I'm going to put up that there is going to be my transaction rupees, that other side I am getting 75 rupees. Okay, 25 रुपए गायब हो तो क्या फर्क पड़ता है, मेरी टेक्नोलॉजी 75% तो काम कर रही है ना. I am satisfied with that. So technology में is no you can say in between. You either attend 100%. If you are working for 99.99%, so then that time to work on that around 3 air accident at IGI airport every week, to take it that way. So for technological persons, or you can say 150 mistaken surgery by the doctors, यार यहाँ की किडनी निकालनी थी, वो दांत उखाड़ दिया, ये क्या फर्क पड़ता है. 99% मेरा श्योर शॉट है, परसेंट ही तो एरर पॉइंट है, तो उसने यहाँ का आर्टरीज को ठीक आर्टरीज काट दी, यहाँ का आपका वो करना निकालना था दूसरा. Basic pivot point over here is that you work on with 4 different kinds of skills, and to reach up to the highest level as a CEO, design skills is that skills which is going to help you throughout your life, because your creativity, that is your innovation, that is the you can say it's my own, that is you can say it's my patent, that is you can say it's my own copyright. There is no shortcut to the success. Mind it, you keep on working, use your brain, try to solve the problems. If there are 100 steps, divide down into 3 steps. That's also a design skill. We are going to, earlier we are making softwares in Fortran, COBOL, Pascal. We are going in now 3-step process. You can do the same thing with the different softwares. Students, especially the BCA students, I'm here, they're looking forward with the technology part. They're doing things that how the machines are working, how the drones can, how the robots come, and how the IoT, Internet of Things, are working on. But now these dimensions which Madam is talking about is the innovation part and design part. Design is the thing which you can make India proud in time to come, because this is the area we are at weak. China is doing reverse engineering in design. They are taking all things from out. They are reverse engineering, doing the same thing and put up over there and do the thing. But their metallurgy is poor. Because the metallurgy is poor, the particular the device could not be that sturdiness. That's the failure because of the metallurgy is poor. So again, in the design part, your metallurgy, your substance, which you are going to make the particular product of, it's also important for a design part. So what kind of ingredient you use, that is also an ingredient part of the design skills. So Madam has given you right inputs over here: critical thinking, design thinking, and as a CEO of a company, as a CEO of the company, this thing you will be every time you will be requiring to use the design skill to thwart your competitors, because every time you have to deal with the competitors, and you have to always one notch above the competitor. To beat the competition, you have to design something innovative every time. So you are always at work. When you are always at work, that is only if you have got a design thinking, design mindset. So design thinking is nothing but how efficiently you can do the things better than the other people. And there is no thing that it's a patent that Einstein can only be American, it cannot be Indian. We have got over here Chandrasekhar's also, we have Harbindan Khurana, and other people are also there in India, Nobel laureates. Then we can have more Nobel laureates from here in India too, provided we learn and we aspire to be in that league. So just follow the dreams and chase your dreams. It will happen. It is bound to happen. Success will bound to occur. Keep on believing in yourself and do the hard work with dedication. Success will touch your feet. That is the essence of the Madam sayings to you, Soumya Agarwal Madam. Yeah, I'm thankful for you to guiding the students on these areas. So I feel it there is going to be a much more learning experience as you have given them the input part. And this learning experience will going to create a new trajectory in their experience part. So with this, Nivita Madam, I feel that Madam has justified her presence over here, gracious presence over here, and to make the students understand the topic, because this topic is not an easy topic. It's not a small topic, and it's not a make you people understand. You can think it that you can understand design because you know the things, but to make other people understand what exactly is design, because design itself is so creative. Every time when we come out with something, it's going to have a endless and boundless exponential status. So to make the things simplified with all trajectories covered up, thank you, madam, for making it so simple, look so simple over here. And we have learned a lot from you on this occasion. Thank you, Nevita madam, for making me allow you to speak some part of my wisdom component. Hope it will be in the right spirit. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, and thank you so much for giving your precious time to here to us.
Thank you so
And
much.
thank you so much, Soumya. It was indeed wonderful listening you. I hope to see you soon on some other stage, some other discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And
Take care, everyone.
thank you so
Bye-bye.
much.
Bye.
And for the students, thank you so much for being such a patient listener. To all my faculty friends here from Tecnia Institute, thank you so much for being in this webinar. Thank you so much for being such a patient listener. With this, I'm wrapping up and wish to see you soon on some other platform with some other discussion. Till then, stay happy, be blessed, love your mom and dad. Thank you so much.